This is for my safety.
Put the phone down!
This is for my safety.
Put the phone down!
This is for my safety.
I graduated from UCI with a bachelor's in political science with a focus in American politics and government. Just this year, thank you. Hey, hold your applause, please. And I have pretty much always identified as a progressive leftist kind of guy. Hate Republicans, especially the Trumpists. Not a fan of Democrats or liberals either. I don't think they. I don't. Mainstream politics, nowadays it's a bit of a clusterfuck, you could say. Trump on the right has been the dominant figure in politics since I was in middle school. He's been on every ballot throughout my middle school, high school, and college, which is absolutely crazy. But I used to kind of feel like I was a Republican because when I was a kid, I kind of had dreams, delusions of grandeur of growing up to be super rich. Not that my family's poor by any means. I understand my privilege, especially being a straight white man. That's huge in America today. But as a kid, I sort of realized that, man, I don't want to pay fucking taxes. I worked hard for this. Why would I want to give away my money to the government? I don't even see where it goes, And so just that sort of initial thought as a kid really shaped my early political years as a Republican. And then, don't even get me started on the alt-right pipeline. That shit, I've written essays about that shit. That is crazy. As a kid, I'm watching Sky Does Minecraft, and the next minute I see in my recommended feminist-owned compilations. I used to eat that shit up. I used to love feminist-owned compilations. And that's when the sort of leftist actually fucking started, because I would watch those feminist owned videos and be like, actually she kind of had a point there. I feel like there's some nuance to this issue that Ben Shapiro isn't addressing here. And so that sort of started the journey, but it definitely wasn't solidified until years later. But what actually radicalized me, radicalized is such a weird word, because I feel like the leftist values that I hold are not crazy. A lot of European countries have succeeded in doing a lot of these things, like universal health care. That should not be a radical leftist idea, but it somehow is in America. I think some of my views would still be considered radical in these European countries, these more socialist welfare European countries. But that remains to be seen. But anyway, what radicalized me? History, learning history. I really wanted to be a history major, but at the time when I was applying for colleges, I really prioritized money, and so I chose political science instead, because famously, political science makes so much more money than history majors. And it's funny now because I'm ending up becoming a teacher. At least that's the career path I have set right now. But yeah, learning history was always my favorite subject. Loved it. That really taught me that America is not the shining city on the hill. We've committed genocide. We've committed horrible atrocities. We've interfered with democracy across the world. And it's just horrible. Recent controversy, recent by the time of me recording it, I record these pretty far in advance. Asmongold, famous Twitch streamer and fucking incel loser, calling Middle Eastern culture and Palestinian culture inferior. That was kind of fucking crazy. But what is less crazy is that was a completely normal take. Just 10 years ago, I saw a TikTok on this, and I know for a fact I used to believe this, where I thought yeah, of course, Western culture superior. What we're doing is right. We have to spread democracy, In fact, I remember I was going through my old Google Drive recently, and I found a project from middle school where we had to write a letter to one of the senators. I'm from California, so I think I did write it to Kamala Harris. It might have been No, it was Feinstein. I don't think Harris was a senator at that time yet. But yeah, and I wrote it about like the war in the Middle East. I don't even think there was that much of a war going on in the Middle East right then. But I was saying like, Feinstein, we need to send more troops. Please, please, like we need to save these Middle Eastern people who don't know about democracy and blue jeans and Taylor Swift, you know. And so I find that funny looking back now. Anyway, bit of a diversion from Asmongold. That was an absolutely insane take of his, but it was completely normal. Like you would hear that probably in like the mainstream media up until recently, probably like around the Trump years, is when that take sort of fell out of favor. And so yeah, I thought that was definitely interesting, and he's rightfully being canceled. And I mean, he's making a comeback. I think, or his apology, he was with tears like, I feel so bad. The people that checked out, that like looked out for me, they were like Middle Eastern, they were Islam people. I was about to say Islam people, they were Muslims. And so, yeah, I think that's good for him, I guess. But I'm not gonna fucking forgive him, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I'll go with whatever. I'll go with whatever the popular take is. But yeah, on the topic of content creators, shout out to Second Thought. I love Second Thought on YouTube. He's a great leftist content creator. I would say he's the best. He's my favorite. I've learned a lot from him. Incredible content. I love that he took a stand in leaving his partnership with Nebula, which was a big chunk of his money, if I'm not mistaken, because like they made him sort of adopt this sort of neutral stance on Palestine, when of course he's very pro-Palestine, anti-genocide, anti-Israel. So yeah, he's very brave. I admire him a lot. Going back to my origins of my political journey, in high school, I had a friend who, I almost said his name, but I won't say his name. He was the president of the Association of Politically Active Students club at my high school, and he's like, "You should join." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'm pretty political. I'm a history guy, so I'm a fan. Politics is pretty interesting right now." So I decided to join, and I knew sort of that he was a Republican, and at that time, again, I was still like, maybe I'm a Republican. I don't know. But then when I went, I realized I was definitely not Republican, because I thought these people were fucking crazy. We went to Jen, a Korean barbecue place, and I remember they made me order warm water to drink. So they were like, it's actually optimal because it expands your stomach, the gases, the steam. Fuck you. Let me just enjoy my food, man. I don't need to optimize my eating. Let me eat, man. Let me have fun. So I thought that it sounds like a minor thing, especially because it's not political at all, but it really like set the framework for me that these people are not cool. But then what really sealed the deal was one of the members of the club actively advocating for bringing back military black ops operations in South America and Latin America to overthrow governments that are not favorable towards America. Absolutely crazy. I was like, okay, you're fucking insane. Get me out of here. And I never went back. I wonder what they are up to now. I'm curious. But yeah, so continuing that sort of was a good point where I was like, okay, I'm definitely at least a Democrat, a progressive Democrat at that. But then in college, when I first moved in, my neighbor next to my dorm was just basically, a straight up leftist, straight up communist. And I sort of poked fun of him for that at first, but then I guess his views sort of really, really influenced me, because at the end I was like, yeah, fuck this. I remember as a gift, I got him for Secret Santa for our dorms, and I bought him a copy of the Communist Manifesto and a Soviet flag, and I thought it was hilarious. So yeah, it's funny. I think there needs to be a massive redistribution of economic power in the U.S. and in the world in general, because things are not very equitable right now. Hot take, I know, call me crazy. But at the same time, to end it off, I do kind of feel really insecure as a leftist, because sometimes I really don't feel smart enough. I feel like I'm not well educated enough on a lot of these issues to be saying these bold claims that I just echo. from popular creators. Or I feel like if you know, people are like, oh, we need critical race theory. I'm like, hell yeah, we fucking need critical race theory, love critical race theory. If someone came up to me and was like, why? Can you explain it? I wouldn't do a very good job. I mean, I know what CRT is, but that was just an example. But it's definitely something I need to work on, and it's something I admitted to which was a close leftist friend of mine. We broke up, long story. And she was like, no, I think you're good, but I don't know. It's just an insecurity I have. Anyway, that's all I have. Hashtag trans rights. Throw that in at the end there. Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.